Good evening. I'd like to call the City of Mount Vernon City Council meeting to order for August 11, 2021. The time is now 7 p.m. If you would please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilmember Beaton? Here. Councilmember Barksmith?
Here.
Councilmember Perez?
Here.
Councilmember Hudson? Here. Councilmember Holtz?
Here.
Councilmember Molinar?
Here.
Councilmember Morales?
Present.
Thank you. Under our consent agenda, we have items A, B, C, and D. Those are council meeting minutes, payroll checks, wire transfers, claims, and an agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Melissa and a second by Mark. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Under reports tonight, we have one report for the Public Works and Library Committee. I'll ask Councilmember Gary Molinar for the report.
Okay, we opened the meeting tonight, Public Works and Library at 6 o'clock after the approval of the July 14th meeting minutes. Bill Bullock gave us some project updates. Freeway driver improvements, there was an amendment number 2 being brought forward to the council to approve to cover a few required items that were not in the original scope of the work, and an additional task order to provide design assistance with the Colson Creek outfall. The street improvements projects are going well. Little Mountain Road and First Street paving has been completed. Work on the venture is continuing. Public Works made the decision to make repairs to 4 subgrade locations on the venture and increase the paving thickness on Fir an additional ½ inch to ensure pavement longevity. This increases the project cost by approximately $180,000, but the increase is within budget constraints. The solid waste building addition is nearly complete with just finished work remaining, and the additional will nearly double the size the crew has to work in. The shop canopy addition main structure is 50% complete and should be completed by the end of August. The WWTP Super Nanit tank coating will begin on August 23rd and should be completed in 3 to 4 weeks. Next, we had our librarian Isaac Huffman talked about the reopening. The library is now open 12 to 6, 4 days a week, and he also provided a review of the hours and staffing for the remainder of the year, which is ongoing. Summer reading continues July 5th through August 16th, and then Isaac gave us a library commons update, and we are at 50% design, and the initial report has great features including safety, multiple use areas, and great flow throughout the building. There will also be a monthly update on the progress of this project. And then for the good of the order, we discussed House Bill 1590 and some of its implications. And we close the meeting at 6:34.
All right. Thank you, Gary. Moving on to item B is our community comments. One is the review of emails from the public, so I'll ask Peter Donovan if there were any comments from the public.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening to you, Council. There were 3 emails that were sent to the City Council at mountvernonwa.gov email address. All 3 of those appeared to be a form letter, so rather than read you the same letter 3 times, I thought I would consolidate our time here. The 3 people who wrote were Terry Wachowski, Norm Conrad, and Bruce Wade. And this is what the letter said. Dear Council Member, I've just read an exciting update from Whatcom County, Washington, a small community with 2 large oil refineries that recently adopted land use and environmental protection laws to protect the community from further expansion of these industries. Refineries inherently run the risk of oil spills, leaks, explosions, air and water pollution, and continued expansion of fossil fuel use is incompatible with a stable climate. It's great to see local government leaders in Whatcom County doing something about it. It would be even better to see us taking similar action here in our community. Stand.Earth, one of the organizations that helped to develop the policies in Whatcom County, is now working to help more communities take similar action. Through the Safe Cities program, they are helping local governments adopt policies that phase out fossil fuels and fast-track clean, more efficient energy solutions. They even have resources specifically for elected officials available here, and it lists a website. You can also join their network of elected officials and staff working to phase out fossil fuels by emailing, and it lists an email address. It would mean a lot to me to know that our local government officials are ready to take the climate crisis and public health and safety issues seriously. Will you commit to passing safe city policies here in our community? And that is the one letter that we received 3 times.
All right, thank you. Item B2 is our public comments. If there's anyone here to speak, and seeing none, we'll move along. All right, item C is any council member comments tonight? Any council member? Harris.
Just today started the playground fair in the community, and I just went this afternoon, and everything looks so beautiful. Inviting everybody with the families and children just to come and enjoy what we're doing in the community. And we have a lot of good events, music and animals. It's been so nice to see after a year and a half being away. And I could see, just to see a lot of family there, family members coming and enjoy the fairground. It's going to start today, it's going to be ended on Saturday, and everybody's invited just to come and join the community.
All right, thank you. Any other council member comments? Okay.
I have one, just for the good of the order, that I know we've been reporting out about the Skagit Housing Consortium that we've been holding for the last few months. Because it's August and there's a lot of folks out on vacation, we've chosen to cancel the August 17th meeting. And we're gonna reschedule that for the next, I think it's the third Tuesdays of the month. So it'd be September 21st, 1 o'clock. Just so folks don't try to show up on Tuesday the 17th next week.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right, well, moving on. I do not have a mayor's report prepared, so we'll go on to item E, which is committee agenda request. Any committee agenda request from council? Oh, Mary.
Just really brief, and I welcome the input from my fellow council people, but I would love to have an update on what's going on in Burlington at the First Step Center, just kind of a progress review.
That looks like a consensus to the council. I think that's a great idea. We will get that on an agenda. Okay. There is no unfinished business tonight, so under new business, item A is a contract amendment for PBS Engineering and Environmental Incorporated. This is through our Public Works Department, so Bill Bullock, our city engineer, is here for this item. Bill.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. So this is amendment number 2 of the PBS contract for Freeway Drive design. This is basically a true-up amendment at the end of the contract. So there's a few details I want to discuss on this, just because I just want you to be aware of them. So part of this was some of these extra expenses were to prepare for the WashDOT changes and specifications and stuff to get it to actual construction obligation. Because if you recall, we got the money awarded and forwarded to us in April 1st, and then it's kind of been a rush to get it out this construction season, so that took some time. But there's a couple pieces on this. For instance, we have a removal of the 4 lights from this contract, and part of that was because WashDOT would not approve our public interest finding for having PSC install them. The lights are still going to go in. We're just going to do it separate from this contract because I didn't want it to hold up the bureaucracy of getting it approved. Another thing we had done, we made a decision to extend our paving into both intersections of Cameron Way and Freeway Drive, so we didn't end up with 2 coupons that weren't paved after we have this project. So we'll have full paving from in town all the way to College Way, and then that all the way past the bridge will all be new pavement. So that was another additive in that. Then the other piece, the 2 I guess, larger pieces of this amendment. One, we had Skagit PUD is redeveloping their property. And one of the things they came to us after we started the design was they wanted a central driveway in the middle of their property. And so we incorporated that into our design. We had a couple design changes of things they wanted. And so that just was beyond the scope. And then a month ago, they decided that building prices are too high, so they're going to use just their north access and to delete that. So that took another piece of effort to make those design changes. Part of that will result in a deductive change order with our contractor of about $20,000. So it's kind of a wash. But so we'll have a straight sidewalk there rather than ADA ramps and all that stuff for our main access in their facility. Then the other piece of this was our crew, as you know, this summer was attempting to connect the Colson Trail outfall pipe. And they ran into some issues with the Reichart Neby design. So Public Works as a staff decided we wanted a third set of eyes on it to see what we needed to do to redesign it. PBS was already on contract with us, and they're familiar with that area because they just got done designing Freeway Drive. And so basically, rather than a straight pipe into the outfall, they've put a couple more flanges, kind of knuckles, so that that pipe can be adjusted into its alignment and just make the installation easier and more flexible for our crews to install, which they'll probably do next summer now, rather than now. But now they have a solid design for the alterations that we needed. So, and the piece there is that is not part of the federal contract, because we're not federalizing that piece. So this is part of a contract amendment, but we are not putting it into the attachment federal contract with that. So that's why the memo says that it's a certain amount of money plus $14,090, so that we don't federalize that piece. I'm trying to be real careful with that. But those are the kind of the highlights of those details. If the council has any further questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But yeah, this is basically this much true up to get the design completed, and we're ready to start construction in about a week or so.
I did have one question. You said that we redesigned the driveway for PUD.
Yes, sir.
At a cost to us?
At a cost to us, I am working with Alan Danforth to see if we can cover some of that cost, because we're doing it at their request. But I don't know what mechanism that is.
And then we had to change it back at another cost?
Yep. Painful.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if it was just a private individual or private business, wouldn't we either say, when you get ready to put your driveway in, do the curb cut, do the ADA compliance, or we make them pay for it up front?
So part of this was being done in conjunction, again, with their development, and they're required to do frontage improvements. So I don't know the exact mechanism, how we go back to PUD and have them contribute to part of what this project is doing, giving them that cost savings with that. But I wanted to make sure this was separated out. So as I work with Alan, because Alan Danforth is the one handling that permit and that process, so that way he has a hard number to know what to do with it.
It's kind of a burden upon taxpayers to pay for another entity's design change twice.
Right.
And they end up not doing it, so.
Understand. At the time when we said we want to incorporate this design there, what we didn't want to do is do a straight curb, have them come back 2 years later and cut up our brand new project. So that was part of the original impetus for saying, yeah, we'll incorporate our design and do it. But now that we've removed it, I've separated those costs so that we can, if there's a potential to get that back from, I just don't know what the mechanism right now is, but I still need to pay PBS for doing the work.
If you could let us know how that works out.
I will certainly do.
There also might have been some discussions with Development Services, but we'll make sure council gets some details on that.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Any other questions for Bill? All right.
All right, well, I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor to execute the contract with PBS for the additional work on Freeway Drive.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Motion by Melissa and a second by Gary. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Item D tonight is an approval of an agreement with Paul Schisler and Associates, and Peter Donovan is here for this item. Peter.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, as you know, the City of Mount Vernon receives funding from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, that's HUD, through HUD's Community Development Block Grant Program, our CDBG program. Each year, the CDBG funds that come into the city are distributed to various organizations which support the city's residents in the areas of community development and affordable housing needs. To assist in navigating the complexities of this program, the city contracts with the CDBG consultant who can provide coordinated guidance to help the city accomplish more funding goals, as well as advise city staff on federal processes and reporting requirements. This agreement with Paul Schisler and Associates is a one-year renewal of a long-standing contract, and it includes a scope of work that's consistent with agreements from previous years. The contract is funded with CDBG dollars, and city staff is grateful for that assistance and efficiencies afforded by these services. So tonight, staff is requesting that council authorize the mayor to enter into this one-year agreement with PSAI for CDBG program consulting services.
Any questions for Peter on this?
I'll move that we authorize the mayor to enter into this agreement.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Mary and a second by Mark. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, item C tonight is the approval of an abandonment resolution, and our city attorney, Kevin Rogerson, is here. Kevin.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of City Council, before you is resolution number 1000. This resolution, if adopted, would formalize and confirm that the city had in fact and continues to have abandoned any interest or property interest it may have had in tract P2 located in the Skagit Highlands subdivision, which was previously to be dedicated as a public park. And the reason for this resolution is the city has received correspondence from Tri-Point Homes. They are the apparent successor in interest to Quadrant Homes, which was the original developer of Skagit Highlands. In that correspondence, Tri-Point alleged that the city owns tract P2 of Skagit Highlands and is responsible for maintenance within the tract. This is a tract which has, since its inception, been maintained by either Quadrant, Tri-Point, or the Skagit Highland Homeowners Association, and has been used exclusively by the Skagit Highlands community. At no time has the city ever taken possession, exclusive possession, or maintained this tract. The city believes that the record reflects that we have no property interests. However, to formalize that, the city has provided a resolution to formally confirm that the city has long ago and continues to abandon any interest that it may have had in tract P2.
All right, any questions for Kevin on this item?
No, I would move the council formally confirm that we abandon any interest in the stated property through the adoption of Resolution 1000.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Mark and a second by Melissa. Any other questions? All right. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, thank you so much. That completes our regularly scheduled agenda items. I'll ask our city attorney if there's a need for an executive session this evening.
There is, Madam Mayor. I invite the City Council and the Mayor to enter into an executive session to discuss the legal counsel matters relating to enforcement action, litigation, or potential litigation for which the city, the governing body, or member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party. When public knowledge regarding such discussion is likely to result in either adverse legal or adverse financial consequences to the city pursuant to RCW 4230-110 subsection 1I. 10 minutes would be the time, which then we would reconvene for no action and end the session at 7:30.
All right, thank you. With that, we'll be adjourned into exec session at 7:19.